Welcome to another lesson in your training as an Apprentice Lighting Technician. Today we're going back to the very beginning of electric light, and we're going to talk about something that is still being used in homes and businesses today: incandescent lighting. Before we dive into the details, let's talk about why this lesson matters. This section exists to introduce you to the original electric light, the incandescent lamp. Even though it's one of the oldest lighting technologies, it's still used all over the world. And as a technician, you will still come across these lamps in homes, hospitals, restaurants, schools, and churches, so understanding them is essential. You will also learn about the special type of incandescent lamp called the tungsten halogen lamp, which is a bit more advanced but still part of the incandescent family. And finally, you'll learn how to identify different incandescent lamps and read lamp labels and catalogs, so you know what type of lamp you're dealing with and how to find replacements. Let's start with the basics. An incandescent lamp produces light through a process called incandescence. That's a fancy way of saying you run electricity through a thin metal wire called a filament, and it gets so hot that it glows. That glowing filament is what gives off that light. You've probably seen a classic incandescent light bulb before. It has a glass bulb, metal base, and a warm yellowish light. Thomas Edison invented the first practical incandescent light bulb way back in 1879. He wasn't the only one working on electric light at the time, but his design was the first that lasted long enough and was reliable enough for everyday use. And believe it or not, over 140 years later, we are still using the modern version of that same basic idea. That's how important and long-lasting this invention has been. There are two main types of incandescent lighting you should know. First is a standard incandescent lamp. These are the ones most people think of, the everyday household light bulb. They are simple, inexpensive, and easy to replace. But they are not very energy efficient and don't last very long. And second, we have the tungsten halogen lamps. These are a special type of incandescent lamp. They use halogen gas inside the bulb, which help the filament last longer and burn brighter. You will find halogen lamps used in car headlights, track lighting, desk lamps, and display lighting. They give off a brighter, whiter light than standard incandescent lamps, and they last and they are a bit more efficient. Here's something important for you as a technician. Incandescent and halogen lamps do not need a ballast to operate. That's different from other lighting systems like fluorescent and HID, which require ballast to control the electrical current. So when you're troubleshooting a basic incandescent lamp that is not working, the cause is usually one of three things. The bulb is burned out, there's a wiring issue, or the switch isn't functioning properly. So here are a few facts that you should lock in. Incandescent lamps are cheap and simple, but not energy efficient. Halogen lamps are brighter and last longer than standard incandescent lamps. Neither type requires a ballast. These lamps are still everywhere, even though newer technologies like LEDs are replacing them. Knowing how to identify and replace them is a core part of your job as an apprentice. And that wraps up our introduction to incandescent lighting. Keep going. You're building a good, solid foundation for your career in the lighting and electrical trade. And remember, every great technician starts with the basics. Follow me on to the next lesson. Until next time, stay safe, stay sharp, and keep learning.